The Washington football team released their quarterback, Dwayne Haskins. He's a second-year quarterback out of Ohio State. And it's pretty rare for a guy drafted in the first round to be, especially a quarterback drafted in the first round, to be released less than 2 full years into their career. It's kind of crazy. Almost never happens. And I really, the word almost is funny because I almost didn't want to even make this topic. Like, I almost didn't want to talk about it, but I'm like, well, I have to because people are going to want to hear an updated thought of some kind. I've covered Dwayne Haskins a lot this year in the offseason, and I feel like I've talked about him a bunch. And the reality is that, like, I could tell you that he made mistakes here and there, and I could list all the things he's done wrong, but the reality is that Dwayne Haskins just makes me very, very sad. Disappointed, and, man, look, he dug his own grave. Dwayne Haskins made mistakes off the field. He made mistakes on the field. Poor play, poor decision-making in every facet of his career. And, he was a guy who was immature off the field. He got in trouble, had COVID violations, had all kinds of stuff. He looked unprepared week to week playing in games. I don't know what's going on with the guy. I wondered at times, like, where's his dad? Because you would think somebody would be in his ear telling him, hey, dude, you got to understand the opportunity you've been given in the NFL. And, Dwayne Haskins is a guy who has a lot of talent, who only started 1 year in college, who came in a little bit, I think, too early to the NFL and clearly was unprepared for the responsibility of being an NFL quarterback. And I don't know how you look at this and it doesn't make you sad because it's a guy, again, who it's a missed opportunity. And I know people are angry and, Washington fans are like, screw this guy. On a human being level, I look at him and go, man, he's going to have a hard journey. Like, he's very rich, and that's really cool. I know he bought his mom a house. I hope he, bought it in cash. I hope it's paid for. I don't know. I think he's going to have a hard journey. I don't know whether he's going to get another opportunity on another team. You would think that some team's going to take a chance on him. But the biggest red flag you can have for a quarterback is that he's not a good decision maker, that he's immature off the field. And he appears to be that kind of guy who, throws the ball well enough to be an NFL quarterback, but throwing the ball is not at all what it takes to be a quarterback. And I don't know, man. It's concerning. I know that when he came into the league, the rumor was that the owner wanted him, but the coaching staff did not, and it was kind of a problem from the start. And Dwayne Haskins never really he was never, very impressive at all in Washington. And it's just a sad story of a guy who I think, again, didn't understand the responsibility it takes to be an NFL quarterback, and I think wasted an opportunity. And here's where I feel sad. I know a lot of people are going to come down very hard on this guy and say, and look, he did. Again, Dwayne Haskins made a lot of mistakes. He went to parties. He went to, or something. Strippers were at some kind of event he was at. He wasn't wearing a mask. That's just stupid during COVID. You know what's going on in the world. You know you can't have that happen. You're an NFL quarterback. Signing or taking pictures during the game while it's not over, bragging about your stats during a loss. All kinds of stuff happened during Dwayne Haskins' ugly tenure as a quarterback for Washington. It didn't work out. And my fear is he's going to look back when he's 30 years old and go, man, I should have done so many things differently, right? You can't really have hindsight now when you're a young guy in your second year in the NFL. But when he's 30, I've heard Vince Young talk about his career. Now, Vince Young talks about how he just did not take it seriously enough and didn't do enough stuff off the field and wasn't prepared enough and regrets. He's got tremendous regret about how his career worked out. And so does Jamarcus Russell. So does Matt Leinart's talk about that. There's a lot of quarterbacks that look back in their career and go, I just did not do enough work to be prepared when I got my moment to play. And unfortunately, that is exactly the story of Dwayne Haskins, a guy who repeatedly did not look prepared on the field. And anybody who's going to look back on their life with regret, I feel bad for. So you can be angry. I feel bad for Dwayne Haskins. And I don't feel bad in the way that, he chose his path. He made bad decisions, but it's sad to see a guy who's, I think, is going to regret the path he took years later down the road in his life. And probably right now, he's sitting at home feeling regret, even now, in this moment, probably going, man, I should have done X, Y, and Z to be more successful. And I think that's incredibly sad to see a guy do that in the NFL.